this is Vicky, also known as DragonflySoars. Today is Tuesday, April 14th. It's been a couple weeks since I recorded. There was 1 week that my son and his girlfriend were here for their spring break. And so we were spending a lot of time with them, either hanging out at home, or we went to play mini golf one day, we saw a couple movies, we went to the zoo, but one night we taught his girlfriend about Dungeons and Dragons. So there was a lot of stuff going on, and my son hasn't been home since Thanksgiving, so I didn't want to interrupt the time I had with him with recording. And then last week on Tuesday, now that was an awesome week. I have some pictures from the zoo. Most of the stuff we don't really have pictures. We went and saw Home, which there's an alien named Boo, who the voice is done by the same person that does Sheldon on Big Bang. That was cute. And then we also saw Insurgents, which is the new movie in the Divergent series. My son and I had seen the first one together, so we wanted to see the second one together. And so one day we actually watched the first one together, and then we went and saw the second one in the theater. Last week, I don't want to go into this in any detail in a public forum. Last week, there was a reason I needed to go and see my son and spend time with him. So he just kind of needed his mom. Let's put it that way. And so since I was there, and I was going to go last weekend anyway because his music association was having a fundraiser, I just stayed the whole week. I didn't record because I didn't have all my stuff because I wasn't planning on going. It was a last minute thing. In fact, I forgot pants, which out of everything with all the stuff going on, all of a sudden there's this realization that I forgot to pack pants. The only pants I had were my pajamas and the dress pants I had worn to work that day. And I was going to be there for like 5 or 6 days. So one day, my son and I went to get pants. I'm sorry, the cats are shedding like crazy. Spring must really be here. But anyway, I also am not going to Nitopia this weekend because of the same related issue. I don't want to be that far away right now. So I instead am going to be using the time to work on packing. So best friend and I were talking, and right now it's too hard to do English homework with my son because he has musical practice, and he has so much musical practice, and it's at such a wonky schedule that we're only getting like a day here or there, and even I can't remember what we were studying, so we end up having to redo stuff. It's not worth it. So we decided we're just going to wait until the musical's over and then push through the end. Well, that means best friend and I decided that we need to get the majority of the packing done and moving during this time period before his musical, which is in a couple weeks. 3 weeks, essentially. So we're just going to start going. That's the plan, to just do it. Last night we sorted through all the stuff in the kitchen, basically, and stuff that's going, stuff that's not going, because there's a lot of stuff that I don't care about. I have the most mismatched set of plates and bowls and stuff from different sets that I inherited over the years or bought and broke. Whereas he has really good dishes that are complete sets, and I don't care, and he does. So we're keeping his dishes and donating my dishes. Stuff like that. Whereas there's some cooking utensils that I have that he doesn't have. So we're sorting that out. But for the most part, it's just going to kind of be a pack and move. We just need to get moving on it. So I'm still taking my vacation days. We're just going to go. That's the plan anyway. There may reach that point of exhaustion where you realize that this was a lot. It's already a little overwhelming. The bad part about packing up the kitchen, I'm sorry, I'm really rambling. I do have knitting, but the bad part about packing up the kitchen is everything was in the cupboards. So even though several of the cupboards are now totally empty, it doesn't look like anything changed from the outside view. So it is what it is. We'll keep going. All right. I did, however, get knitting done. Now, when the kids were here, and we were over at best friend's house because my son and their group, they were going to play Dungeons and Dragons. Now, his girlfriend, even though she did agree and do the little trial run of Dungeons and Dragons, decided she didn't really want to do it. Now she crochets, so she and I had gone to Joann Fabrics at one point and got her some more yarn because she didn't have enough. And you know I'm not going to let somebody sit there with an empty crochet hook or empty needles. Not going to happen. So, and I didn't have the yarn she needed to finish her project. So, otherwise if she just needed random yarn, I got that. But while we were there, I worked on the border of the striped blanket. It is not done. I thought I was going to get it done last week, but then, of course, I didn't end up at his house at all because hi, I'm putting you down again. But I have a picture of what the border is looking like, so I'll post that here. Now you can see that I did double crochet of the turquoise blue, and then a single crochet of the fuchsia, and then double crochet of the turquoise again. Now, if you could see it, I went around the entire blanket with the turquoise first. Then, because I didn't have scissors handy and I was tired of turning the blanket, what I started to do is I actually would do a section of the single crochet, and then right on top of it do a section of the double crochet, and then move, and then do the next section of single crochet, and over the top of it the double crochet, because there were two different yarns, so I could just move along that way. For those rows, I'm about halfway around the blanket. I originally, because I have a lot more yarn, was going to make the border even bigger, but frankly, I am done with that blanket. It is a functional unit. It now has a border, or it will by the time I finish those 2 rounds. I'm done. So that border that you see is basically how it will end. I don't want to do any more on that blanket. I am done. It works. I like it. I have a spot for it. You know, it's probably going on the guest bed at the house. But I'm done. So anyway, it needed a border to tie it together. It didn't have to be a big border. So that one I don't have with me. Then, alright, just because it's on top, I did work on the twitchy socks. Sorry, the ball ran away. I worked on the twitchy socks. I'm not sure exactly where you saw it last, but I know that it was at least right here. How do I know that? Because in the middle of the movie theater, when we were watching, I don't remember which movie, but anyway, in the middle of the movie theater, in the dark, I realized there was a knot in my yarn, where, like a factory knot. So I actually ended up having to break the yarn and then weave in my ends as I went in the dark. So where these 2 ends are, well, there are 2 ends. Those 2 ends. I know that I did that in the movie theater, so I know that it was somewhere below that line is where I started. So they're growing. They are, the stripes do not, the stripes line up exactly for where they start, because I started in the same spot. Not color-wise, though. They alternate color. So anyway, I am there. I got that much left. So I'm a little over halfway. So right now, that is my only small project. I need to find another small project that I can carry along because those are my twitchy socks. They are good for being at the movies, being really impatient in a doctor's office when I don't have anything to do. They're not really my portable project for conference calls and stuff like that. I did use them today, but it's not quite the same. And I don't have a small project because I finished working on the secret project. So here's the secret project. I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing and put a little intermission here and talk about this project. And then, like I said, after Knitopia is over, I will be mailing my swap partner their prize. Their present, gift, whatever. Once I know that it's done and they've received it, then I will post that part of the recording. So right now I'm going to pause and do my little bit of recording on this project. Alright, so I really like the idea of sharing the secret project with you when I'm all done. When we're all done with this, you guys can tell me how you felt about it. But next thing, I did tell you that I don't have any more small projects. Well, what do I have? I have 2 big projects. I have the Mystery Afghan. Now, this is up through clue 9, which was last week's clue. Clue 10 came out today, but because it's a border, and I have not been carrying this to work because it's way too big, and so I will start it sometime this week. I don't even want to say I will start it tonight because I actually have a bunch to do. I actually have some work to do, along with I am going to be trying to get some packing done. So, and in fact, the processing on this may be more limited than usual. But clue 9 added this little bit of blue and this Mikey calls it the puff stitch. It's actually a DC 5 together. You work it from the back because the back side is the puffy side. So by working it from the back, the puffs go forward. Now, this was a god-awful long border to do because for every other stitch was one of these DC 5 clusters. Clusters, that's what they're really called. I just watched the video and he keeps calling it puff stitch. He even apologizes for it because it's not really a puff stitch. But it will kind of puff up. You do essentially 5 stitches for every stitch. So you feel like you're going along, you've made all these stitches, and you're like, wow, I've made, 50 stitches. I should be really moving. And then you realize, no, you've only actually done 10, and that took you about this far. It was really, really long, especially because my blanket is twice as big as the recommended. So I was so glad to be done with it. Now here's the other thing. When I went to Mom's house, because again, I ended up leaving in a hurry, I brought my projects. I forgot to bring my hooks. Thankfully, Mom had one size 7 hook, and it worked, but I wanted to get all of the border done at her house with that crochet hook because sometimes my gauge does change with the type of tool. So I finished it while I was there, but I kept calling it the border of doom. Or the epic border. The next clue was released today. That is also the final clue. So I will have this done, and then there's a month to submit to the Crochet Crowd if you want to be considered for prizes. If you added more squares, that's fine. If you changed your colors up, you picked a different yarn, that's all fine for prizes, as long as you did all the steps. If you left out the little poof, or you skipped the X, or you did something different with the chains, I think all of those things disqualify you for the entry. I didn't do anything different that way. I did just change up my colors, and part of that was because once I merged them, I wanted to more completely merge my colors. So I'm still deciding what I want to do for the edges, for the final rows from this week. All right. I have a picture of that border. I have two pictures because one is from the last clue, which was those treble stitches. Those cross treble stitches. Right here are the cross treble stitches. I forgot I hadn't shown you guys that, or even actually all of this. This little archway, the little bit of gray, the cross treble stitches, all of that I believe has been since the last time you saw it. So I will post two pictures here of the border from both weeks. All right, next item is the Sophie. Up through the turquoise was part 4. I am now actually starting part 5. I'm going to show you a picture of part 4 as soon as I'm done talking. So these little purple things, there's like kind of like almost like a leaf and a tulip is what they're supposed to look like. I just started those. Now, I was looking forward to doing this section because I thought it was a cool texture stitch when I first saw it. That was before the epic border. These are popcorn stitches. The other ones were clusters. So the other ones were DC 5 together. When you're doing a cluster, you only do half the stitch, and then on the final one, you pull the yarn all the way through all the stitches on your loop. So you do half of the DC stitch, and then at the end you pull it all together. For a popcorn stitch, you complete all the stitches, and these are also 5. These are popcorns made of 5 DC stitches. So you complete the 5 all together. Then you remove your hook, put it at the beginning, and then pull it through and tighten it. It makes a kind of a cool effect. And I really like the texture, and I really hate it because it reminds me so much of that epic border. But on the plus side, there are a lot less of them, so it did take less time to do this than that border. But I do love the Sophie. I'm having so much fun with it. It's the reward at the end of the day. I haven't always had time for it or anything, but it's the reward. So I did not work on it last week much because I was trying to get that border done while I still had Mom's hook. Now, granted, Mom would have let me borrow the hook, but part of it was also I just wanted to get that stupid border done because I was afraid if I lost my momentum, that may be my stopping point. So, and then I got home on Sunday and told myself if I cleaned things, I ran a couple loads of laundry, I did the dishes, a bunch of stuff like that, then I could work on Sophie. So, I did that and spent time with best friend who I hadn't seen for a while. Hi, Mr. Tiggers. All right. I am not picking something from the What Do You Want Me to Share thread, partially because I want to show you this book, so I'm sharing my book, and partially because I just didn't get around to looking and I have a lot of stuff to do, so I'm going to skip it this week. Please, if you have things for me to share, put them in that thread. We are, again, starting to run low, so I'm going to talk about this book instead. I was going to say don't let me forget, like you guys are going to be able to remind me. I also did pull winners for the March knit along, even though I didn't record the last couple weeks. I did pull the winners. The the winners were posts 145, 199, and 53. Now I've told you you can chatter all you want, and then I will, when I'm picking, I will look for posts that have projects in them. Well, it turned out that all three numbers, they're pulled all simultaneously, actually did have projects in them. So the winner of the Etsy gift card for $25 is Mountain Pearl, and she did a shawl, and I believe it was called To the Point. I wrote it down and of course left my notes downstairs. A winner of the Ravelry patterns is Pocketses. I believe she won earlier this year. I believe she was one of the first winners. So that is a Ravelry pattern. Any number of patterns up to $10. Let me look real quick. Now I can't remember exactly what we said. Just a sec. $15. Okay. Pocket says one. Ravelry patterns up to $15. So that can be one pattern, one ebook, 3 patterns, 4 patterns, whatever, up to $15. Mountain Pearl won the $25 gift card for Etsy, and KPAR62, who I'm surprised hasn't won yet because she posts so often, won another $15 Ravelry pattern prize. And hers, they were washcloths, and I believe it's Babar the elephant on it. Maybe it's just an elephant, but in my mind, any elephant that can do something is Babar, because that's what I grew up with. So, KPAR62, Mountain Pearl, and Pocketses, all please get in touch with me. Mountain Pearl, I need your regular email address to send you the Etsy card. So, you will notice for April, I renamed the thread because it had been Knit Whatever You Want, and then there was question on whether crochet was okay, and I said yes, anything. So I was talking to Mom one day, we're kind of going back and forth, and I decided to name it Fiber and You, E-W-E. So it is now the Fiber and You, so it can be anything you are doing that is fiber related, spinning, crocheting, knitting, weaving. It's up to you. And so April's is labeled that way. So go ahead and put your finished objects in there. Go ahead and chatter. I like seeing the chatter. I like seeing you guys go back and forth. All right. In my What Do I Want to Share, I bought this book, Boho Crochet. Now, this came up on my Amazon, like an email. You know, they know what you normally buy. So they had sent an email that had this book. At the time, I believe it was a pre-order, and they didn't have the ability to look inside yet. So I didn't get it. And then when the kids were here, we went to Barnes & Noble, and I saw the book there, and I looked through it, and I really liked it. Now, I'm a terrible person. I go to Barnes & Noble, I look at the books, and then I look at Amazon and go, this is cheaper. So like this is $23 on the back of the book. Barnes & Noble was selling it for $23, and Amazon was selling it for like $17. I try really hard to buy local, but when it's a store like that and the price difference is so great, I tend to go and buy Amazon. Now, I didn't order it right away. I was ordering some other stuff on Amazon, and I had this on my wish list, and it said, hey. I said, why, yes, I would like to buy that book. All right. It is called Boho Crochet, 30 Hip and Happy Projects. Now, in the past, I would have gone hip and happy. Ooh, how exciting. I would have made fun of it. But it is just incredibly colorful and fun, and what really got me interested was these ornaments right here, the balls, because I'm thinking they would be fun to do if you do them in different colors. I try and do stuff for I try and do some sort of thing for my employees, but normally I don't do it myself because it gets to be too much. But I was thinking those look fun. I might actually be able to do those. Maybe. Don't tell them. And I have one who sometimes watches, and I know there's somebody else that watches. If you see this and I don't do it, I apologize. But anyway, that was part of what got me going. And then I was looking at the rest of the items. And I gotta say, one of the things I really like is that right up front, there is this project selector that shows you a little thumbnail and what page it's on. I think that is awesome because sometimes you have a book, you know that somewhere in the book you saw this pattern and then you can't find it. I love this. So, and then it's broken out into like crochet for the home, which is where the ornaments and coasters come in. Let me look. The sections are crochet for the home, crochet fashion, and then there's techniques and useful information. So some of them, this is a baby blanket this one is in cream and then other colors. I don't know if I'd use cream for a baby blanket, but I like the idea of those little pops of color showing through. This is just a pretty granny square blanket, but I like the little flowers. Oh, here's a better picture. And then they have some kind of these cool motifs. That one's a hexagon one, and the way they did the colors, the way they laid them out is just as interesting as the afghan itself. Now, it doesn't give you a map of the colors. It gives you a kind of a recipe for laying them out and says to kind of, you know, lay them out, use your own imagination before you start connecting them. This is a happy colors blanket. Frankly, all of the things in here are happy colors. This one I just think is fun. I think it's a join as you go, but I'm not positive. It says it's a rug, but I think it would be kind of cool as like a table runner or something like that. There's a close-up. I really love they have all of these in a homey setting and then a close-up. Large granny square pillow. And there's several pillow items on here. Round and square. This is a spoke mandala. It's actually a wall hanging. But you could also probably turn that into a, you could probably change that into a pillow. There's a stool cover. Let me see if that one has a better picture. I'm sure it must. Yeah. That one kind of reminds me of my Sophie. I of course haven't done anything in here yet. Here's my crocheted balls. It says crocheted Christmas bubbles. Yeah, so this is a headband. Now I couldn't wear it. I don't do headbands very well, but it's cute and really simple. I mean, if you were going to teach somebody how to crochet in the round, like a teen, you could easily have them make those little circles, attach it to a headband, and they would be all set. Rainbow wrist cuffs, good for scraps, good for something quick for teaching somebody. Now, this one, the ombre string cowl. Okay, not all of them are winners. Granny square clutch purse. They're using it as a pencil holder. I just really like this one. Backpack. I wouldn't use this backpack, but hanging out with some of AJ's friends, I know some of the girls would like that backpack. They would think it was cool and funky. And then there's a whole section on techniques. There's getting started, how to hold the hook and your yarn, the basic stitches. how working the round, all the things you would normally think of are in here. Some different ways of seams. It's not, I wouldn't count this, the technique section, as your how-to if you were just learning, but having some good videos of how-to along with this to kind of show you the general ideas. And like I said, I like the patterns. I just thought they were fun and bright and colorful. So that is Boho Crochet. I don't think it's by anyone. It's from Martingale. It has a large number of designers. There's all the designers. So, but it's Boho Crochet from Martingale. I will put a link in the show notes. It will be an Amazon affiliate link. Once again, I don't talk about that a whole lot, but usually when I do an Amazon link, I write Amazon after it, so you realize. That is because I feel like you should know that it is an Amazon affiliate link that you are clicking on. But if you go through an Amazon link on my page and order anything, I do get a small amount that helps pay for prizes. So, but I think that's it. I'm going to look real quick to make sure I didn't forget something obvious, because I started the notes a while ago, but I never actually looked at them before starting today because I just really wanted to get going. Podcast. Yep. Oh, I do have one thing. Fitbit. This is my new Fitbit. Anybody that has noticed that I was not on accepting Fitbit challenges for a while, and I seem to be having no steps at all. Hi. Earlier, I couldn't get anything done because Missy, I had laid down on the bed to look at my phone, and Missy climbed on my shoulder and didn't want me to get up. And now I have this one. Hi. I lost my Fitbit over Christmas. I had it in the hotel and it disappeared. We'll leave it at that. And then I had already been planning to upgrade to the Fitbit Charge HR that has the heart rate monitor, because I suspect that my heart rate goes up high, and when I'm trying to do couch to 5K, I really felt like I was pushing too hard. And I wasn't sure if I was actually pushing too hard or if I was out of shape and didn't know what it should feel like. I have a hard time judging what your heart rate should feel like because I don't have anything to compare it to. So I really wanted to get the Charge HR. So I was planning on ordering one anyway when it came out. Well, it was delayed. It was originally supposed to be out in January. They did announce pre-orders. Some of the black ones went out, but not the purple ones. So I actually ended up being without a Fitbit for quite a while because I didn't have my old one, and the new one wasn't ready yet. On the other hand, they kept moving this so much that they said that I got 20% off, and 20% off was like $30. So, and I'm really glad I waited for the purple, because on the Flex that I had before, you could change the band color. On the Charge HR, you can't, because the heart rate monitor is built into the unit. There's nothing here that removes. So if I had something this size that was all black, I don't think I would like it as much. At least the purple I'm okay with. So I'm now back on Fitbit. I am accepting challenges and all that, and I just couldn't before. It didn't monitor. It was actually really a pain because at work they're trying to get us to be more healthy. So you can get money off of your insurance premium by doing things like walking 700,000 steps. walking 700,000 steps is $100 off your insurance premium, and you can do that twice. So last year I got $200 off my insurance premium just by walking. Well, because it was the Fitbit connects to the system at work, I never had to do anything. It automatically updated everything. You can also manually enter your steps. I never remembered, even on the days when I was walking with my employees. This is really uncomfortable. Even on the days I was walking with my employees or my manager, I forgot to update the steps, and I had no good way. I could get the steps on my phone, but it didn't track in a daily way. So unless I remembered to capture it, like take a screenshot or something, I couldn't even catch up if I wanted to. Hi. You're really a pain in the butt. Alright. Obviously, someone thinks I am done. So, I'm going to go. I hope to talk to you again next week. I will see you later. Bye.